are back. Welcome back, everybody. That countdown music is so dramatic, isn't it? Okay, so we are back here with Stuart Edge. He's waiting in the wings for me to bring him on. Stuart's going to be talking about YouTube. This is a workshop, and that means that you don't have to just sit here and just listen to everything he has to say. You can ask questions and get involved in the conversation with this, and that's what we would like you to do. So, hello, everybody. Before we get started, I would like you to put in the comments your questions for YouTube. Since this is a workshop and Stuart is going to be interacting with you the whole time, let's just get started with some questions, okay? So, for example, hi, Jen, Mark. How do you use YouTube? That's a good question to start with. Okay, so here's Stuart. I'm going to bring him up.
Hello.
Hi, Stuart.
Can you hear me okay?
We can. Welcome.
Nice little earbuds so that the audio quality is a bit better.
Good. All right, now, Stuart, you are a YouTuber. You like to do prank videos, but yours are kind of a little bit different because they're not mean pranks. You do like kind, gentle pranks.
Yeah.
That's your thing. That's your corner of the internet, right?
I'm going to start doing mean pranks now. I'm glad that's the next avenue of stuff that I'm going to be doing. So.
Well, can we start here with Bryce Mortimer at Cedar Fort, because he is such a mean pranker and we need help getting back at him.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure we could come up with some really good stuff. I mean, that's just kind of what I'm going to be talking about. I mean, it all starts with an idea, right? It all starts with an idea and a plan. So I'm really excited to be speaking at this. I know last year I went to the Cedar Fort Authors Marketing Conference, and I loved it. I learned so much about marketing and was able to use everything I learned and apply it to the next year. And I feel like my year has improved. And when I was at the conference, I was like, man, I would love to chime in on some of these things about YouTube and whatnot. And then you reached out a few months later. I was like, do you want to do the YouTube thing at our next Cedar Fort conference? I was like, yes, that would be so great. Free lunch. But then COVID happened, and now we're here doing this. But this is fantastic as well, especially given that what I'm talking about is the online medium and how to correctly convey a message via online. I mean, what better way to practice that and learn that when we're having to do this online? So.
Well, I'm so excited to have you here. And, you know, with me, all my authors, be warned, if you show any weakness that you'll do something for me, I will pounce on you and take advantage of it. So that's how I got Stuart here. Okay, so Stuart, if you're ready, I'm going to turn the time over to you, and I'll just kind of be in the background to moderate questions and help out there.
Yeah, so, I can see chat comments, and Valerie also can as well. So during this time, if you have any questions about YouTube, anything as small as the question you think, as small as the question may be, or as big as it is, I will answer these questions, because I think that there really is so much to learn about the YouTube platform, and it really can be such a wonderful tool to growing your brand and selling the products. So what I'd like to start off with is first that I think to understand YouTube well, you need to understand that YouTube is not a necessary thing to have in order to be successful in your business. And Valerie's freaking out. What? Why are you telling these authors that? But I think that's just such an important thing to understand, that in order to be successful with your product, whether it's a book, whether it's some sort of message, I meet with so many people that are trying to get into advertising and want to get into YouTube, and they think that YouTube is the thing they have to do and it's this thing that's going to fix all the problems, and they have to do it. And so they take so much time trying to figure out how to run a YouTube channel. And then their product begins to suffer because they're not putting attention to running their business and other things like that. And so, and I think that goes for all social media, that just a simple reminder anytime you start to get overwhelmed with your lack of understanding with any sort of social media content, and especially YouTube, just giving a reminder of that this is a tool, not everything I need to do. Because what does it look like to have it be everything you need to do? Well, that would be a whole different career path, which would be being a YouTube influencer or something like that. And so I see a lot of people that try to get into this realm, like, you know, you're leaving your career right now as an author or a public speaker, and you're becoming a full-time YouTuber, but they don't realize that. And so that's the first thing I would say is understand that with YouTube and all social media in general, is it's not necessary. It's not needed. As much as I love being an influencer and influencer marketing, understand that truly you can do very well in business without it. Now, if you start with that as a base, then you can use YouTube for your advantage, and it can really help enhance everything. So now I want to give a little explanation of how I got into YouTube. And so that way you can see maybe if the ways that my story correlates with what you're doing, and then maybe you can try and apply your story to mine. So my journey to YouTube began back in 2012. I was cleaning porta potties. It was a crappy job. I like to say I was the #1 man at a #2 job. I dealt with a lot of crap. I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning to go clean for about 15 hours a day in the summer, in the hot summer months. And I was the lowest of the low, the peon, if you will, pun intended. And they gave me the truck without any air conditioning. I did all the highway projects, you know, the construction that's being done between Lehigh and Point of the Mountain. So I cleaned all the toilets on a construction project with that, but back when it was between Spanish Fork and Lehigh. So here I was, this young 23, 24-year-old kid with a dream of doing great things, but here I was cleaning porta potties. Now, how do you get a job cleaning porta potties? Well, there's only one reason, and it's love. Love, ladies and gentlemen. See, I had it was my first time living in Utah County. I just started school, and I was working as a teacher's assistant in an elementary school, working with children in a behavior unit. Now, that was a 9-month job because it matched the school year schedule. And so in the summer, I needed a job. So like anybody in Utah County, the first thought was summer sales, because that's what everybody suggested. So I had gotten in contact with a summer sales company. I was going to go out on the East Coast, sell pest control. But then I met someone, and my young 23-year-old heart just fell for this woman. And I decided to not go to the East Coast and stay and date her. Well, I told her that was my plan. So I told her I quit the sales job and I was no longer going to be going out. And she looked at me and she said, well, what are you going to do for work? And I thought, crap. And I guess that was a foreshadowing to what was about to happen, because I remembered my aunt had told me about a job when I first moved to Utah County from Cache County in Logan. She had told me about this guy in her neighborhood that owned a porta potty cleaning company, and that if I wanted a job, she'd be happy to set me up. Now I thought, no thanks, I have standards. There's no way I'm going to ever do that. And so I put it to the side. But then here I was realizing I needed a job. So I called him up asking, does he still have work? And he got back to me and he said, a guy just quit. That was the first red flag. I probably should have been like, people are quitting this job left and right. He said, but can you start in two days? I was like, yes. And so my life was going as perfect as I could imagine. I had the girl, I had a job, and things were great. Well, the day I started cleaning porta potties, I woke up that morning to go work. I got a knock on my apartment door, and it was the girl that had been dating, and she said, yeah, you know, I don't think this is going to work out. And she ended things right there. So that was literally the crappiest day of my life. And things got very hard. I remember cleaning that day thinking, what am I doing? I didn't have the other option. I felt like I was in a porta prison. But truthfully, that job, I'm so glad I got that, because that job ended up being an environment for me to think about what it was that I wanted to do. Like I said, I would clean for about 15 hours a day in the hot summer sun and also in the cold winters. And as I cleaned, I would think about what I enjoyed. Instead of listening to talk radio, after a while, I would listen to inspirational podcasts. And after about a year and a half of doing that job, which was very tough, I will tell you, side note, here's how bad the job was. One day I showed up to work and my boss had 2 convicts there. Yeah, apparently they had put a dry ice bomb inside of a porta potty and the whole thing exploded. Now, making a dry ice bomb is wrong in itself. I think in some states it's like a Class B misdemeanor, punishable by up to 15 years in prison. So don't make a dry ice bomb if you're considering it. And then these young guys put it in a porta potty, and that made my job bad. The whole thing exploded, like literally the top blew off. And so I thought, well, these guys, I mean, their lives are over. I was wondering what was going to happen to them. Well, one day I showed up to work. My boss had these 2 guys there. And apparently their punishment, all they had to do was to do my job for 1 week. Yeah. Some federal judge somewhere saw the situation, thought, 15 years in prison or cleaning porta potties for a week. Yeah, so that means that I did that job for a year and a half, so I think I've done the equivalent of like 60,000 years in prison. Yeah, so it was just very tough. Anyway, as I would clean, I would think about ideas, and one day I had this idea to start making YouTube videos. So in order to do that, I thought I need to buy a camera. So I went and bought a video camera. I had about $800 saved up, and I put all of that money to buying a Canon T2i. I took that camera with me everywhere. I took it to a camp out where I had some friends, and a friend saw me with this camera, and he said, hey, I see you taking this camera around. Would you like to get into making videos? I thought, yes, this seems like something that would be really great. I have a passion for creation, and I've been thinking about creating video content, and I no longer want to clean porta potties. And he's like, well, how about we set you up with an internship? I thought, great. By a miracle, I was able to quit my porta potty job and started to consume everything I could about video production and video editing, as well as content marketing. That internship lasted about 3 to 4 months. Again, I was just consuming all this content. And I think what we're doing right here with this conference, this is equivalent to that stage that I was in, which is this the soaking up of content. Anyone that's done an internship knows that it's really about just the information you're observing. You're not really doing anything at that job that's really benefiting the company that much, other than they don't have to pay that much, and it's almost free labor in some areas, but you're just soaking in all this information. And so with this conference, I hope that you guys go in it with that mentality. Just soak it all in, and eventually it'll settle down into the right places that it needs to. where it will lay the foundation so that you guys can be better content marketers for your content. So after doing this internship and soaking in all the information I could about how to market and how to do video, I had this idea of doing a funny social experiment where we went to a college campus and saw if people kissed under the mistletoe. Now, the idea for that came because I was at a college party and there was a mistletoe hanging on the door. And I thought, do people even do this mistletoe tradition? Is this even a thing? And so I thought, well, let's do some research. Let's do a video experiment. YouTube was kind of starting to get big at the time. I had seen some other social experiments. So I thought, I have access to the camera at my work. We'll go film this. And so we went to a college campus, set up the hidden camera, and here I was just trying to figure out how to get the shot. We ended up making this video, and I spent about 2 to 3 days editing it the best I could, and I uploaded it to my YouTube channel. Now, my YouTube channel at the time had 9 subscribers. Yeah, I was doing well in that YouTube world. 9 subscribers. So I uploaded the video December 12th, 2012 at midnight. And in the morning, I woke up, and the video had 300 views. 300. I thought, wow, I don't even have 300 friends. This has gone viral. Now, what I didn't really know was at the time, YouTube would freeze at 300 views. And it stayed at 300 views. I thought, well, that's the thing it's going to do. But really, it was gathering a lot of views. So I went back to work, and I was doing some other stuff. And then I checked my phone, and I got all these messages from people saying, your video is going viral. And news stations from all over the world were contacting me wondering about this video that I had titled Mistletoe Kissing Prank. My life changed overnight from that day, December 12th, 2012, and it hasn't slowed down since. And I've been able to continue to create inspirational and viral content. I ended up leaving that internship out of necessity to continue to produce this video content. And it has laid a foundation for me of being able to market myself, to be able to understand communication, understand content marketing, and also to be able to help people in understanding how they can go from their poor potty moments to having success online. So that's a little bit about my story. Now, I would love to have some, with that, if any comments or questions, Valerie, if you could even chime in if you'd like, or if anyone has any questions about the journey from that point. But again, there are a couple principles with that. One was just the gathering of information that, one of the gathering information from the internship. Also, the thing was creating some sort of compelling video content. And that is the part that seems to be the hardest for people to do, is like, well, how do I create some sort of compelling content? Because, I mean, if everyone could have their own mistletoe video, well, then that would make things that much easier. So I have some basic practices and principles that I have found for creating content. And then after this, we're going to dive deep into what does the back end of YouTube look like? How do you actually have an idea? Because everyone here probably has had some idea. I mean, if you're an author, it started with some idea. So you do have some product, but how do you actually turn that into a video that is open? So Valerie, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my slides now. Okay. So just want to make sure that this can be seen. Valerie, if you could send me a message and let me know.
You're all set.
Okay. Very good. Sweet. So first principle in great content marketing, I think, is do not name the chickens. If you are on a farm and you have a chicken farm, if you name your chickens, you may have to, you're gonna have to, it's gonna be difficult. You have to sell the chickens off and turn them into food. And so I found that is a very simple thing with creating content is somehow learn to separate the emotion from it, because in order to have a successful YouTube channel or create successful content, you're going to have to take some risks with the content. As many of us know with writing, our first draft that we sent in was not the final draft. We had to go through and we had to take away stuff that we thought was so great to have in the story. And the same principles apply to creating great content on YouTube. Testing has to be done. Drafts have to be made. And so being able to separate the emotion from it is so crucial, and look at it, what truly needs to be done in order for this to happen, for our message to be seen. And so don't name the chickens. Be sure to make sure to have an identity of self. Your value is more than the number or like associated with the content, especially if you are creating on behalf of your own personal brand under your own author's name. Really make sure that you can separate yourself from the content, as testing is going to need to be done. Second is be willing to take risks. Being able to upload something and publish it and see how it performs. That's really, testing is something that needs to be done with creating video content. Testing needs to be done. I've created so many videos that I thought were going to be great, and I uploaded them and they did not perform as I hoped they would. And there's a little bit of regret and some guilt, and oh man, I really should have thought about that. But I adjust it and I continue and I repost. And I think this will help you develop a more true plan, something that will really help you be able to identify where your business needs to go and how to best create a brand online that is more true, because you're willing to take risks and you're able to find something that is just more true to you.
Hey, Stuart, we've got a question that I think fits in really well here.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
So her question is, how could YouTube be useful for book marketing?
Yeah, it's a great question. There are a couple ways where that is needed, and as I've been thinking about that a lot. So there are kind of two avenues when it comes to YouTube content. There's the brand side, where you create a brand, you're creating content. And then there's YouTube advertising, where you're purchasing ads on YouTube. Maybe you've watched a YouTube video and you've seen an advertisement pop up from Pepsi or Honda or something like that. You can actually also purchase ads to advertise a piece of content. In fact, I've done that for a video. It cost me about $400. That was my budget I had. And I put about $400, and it equated to about 80,000 views. Now, this is, some people think, oh, you're buying views. That's not really, what you're doing is you're buying the exposure. And so there are two elements. One is the content creation side. There's also the YouTube advertising side, which that's something that's another conversation. There's also a wonderful website called the YouTube Creator Academy. It's created by YouTube. They create this to show people how they can run YouTube advertising campaigns. And so that is one way, but even with that advertising, it boils down to making sure that you have content that is compelling. But that is something that I would suggest looking into. If you don't have the time to create a full YouTube channel and maintain a brand there, maybe create a channel that can be a landing page of sorts for you as an author. But then start looking into YouTube advertising. Create some sort of compelling, 60-second video that brings, that sells the reason why your book may be good, and then practice running YouTube advertisements. And that is a great way to market out. You can also work closely with Cedar Fort and the marketing team and consult on how to best run those ads, because with the knowledge that the team has at Cedar Fort Marketing, you guys would be able to run some great ads. And so I would suggest everyone look into some piece of YouTube advertising apart from just the content creation. Does that make sense, Valerie? Any other follow-up questions about that?
No, yeah, I think that's a great answer. And it just to put in my 2 cents on that, it also depends on your genre very heavily, because a nonfiction author is going to want to develop a totally different YouTube style than what a fiction author would do. And I don't know what that would look like, because it's going to be different for each individual author as well, even if you're the same genre. So the options would be like a book club, like I mentioned earlier on in the day. If you're a fiction, which is the hardest, is you could do like a book club. You could review books. You can call me and I'll brainstorm with you, but it's going to look different for everybody.
Yeah. And that's what I think is so important to understand that's on the content side of YouTube. These things like book clubs, you can create a podcast, you know, and put the video content on your YouTube channel. You could go as specific as doing a daily vlog, you know, explaining about who you are and what your life is. You could play an expert or be an expert on your topic and create videos kind of, you know, with a backdrop like this, sitting and talking about your topic. Even with all that, though, what's going to prove success is starting and trying. And this principle of don't name the chickens, just get out there. And if you have an idea, try it out. Because there really is so much, you know, so YouTube is a big place, and there are a lot of people looking for content. And so I think a great step would be talking with Valerie at Cedar Fort and just brainstorming some of these ideas and getting a more personalized, specific approach. Understanding that what you're doing is in the content creation side of YouTube, not so much in the advertising side of YouTube. And if we can learn to keep those two separate, it'll just help focus our visions. Anything else, Valerie, or any other follow-up questions to that?
Well, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but we had some questions about production quality, video editing software. So if you want to get into those later, we can, or we can address those now.
No, that's fantastic. I think that people are probably getting, you know, this fire. They're like, okay, how do I get started? So fantastic question. So what I use for my production, there are a couple different ways I start out. First and foremost, what is needed. Also, I would suggest going to the YouTube Creator Academy. They do have a course. In fact, Val, I'm going to exit my slide so you can just go back to my image real quick. I'm going to pull this up. This is a fantastic resource that I think everyone should be aware of. So I will go to YouTube Creator Academy. I'll show you this, and then I'll answer these questions. Okay, Valerie, can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, it's up.
Okay, great. So this is a resource that is invaluable to someone that's wanting to get into creating content. And I think this also, I'm biased, I love YouTube. I think they are so amazing. Of all of the platforms out there, they also, TikTok. I know people have some negative viewpoints about TikTok, but TikTok is also one of the platforms that is really doing so much to help people create quality content, because they know that these platforms, YouTube, TikTok, even Facebook, there is a lot of negative stuff. There's a lot of low quality content that can be put on these platforms. And so in order for these companies to share their messages of positivity, they create these resources so people can learn how to create the best content. This is free to everybody. It's called the YouTube Creator Academy. You can see the URL up there, creatoracademy.youtube.com. Now, if you scroll down a little bit, it says explore our courses, getting started, channel foundations. If I click on here, I mean, I just was watching this one earlier. Quick starts guides to YouTube. Everything from how to even start a YouTube channel if you don't even have one. You go to the settings tab, and create a YouTube channel. Another one that I really love is production. After your shoot, before your shoot, during your shoot, also live streaming on YouTube. These are very easy videos to watch, and I would highly suggest anyone that's looking into getting onto YouTube to use the YouTube Creator Academy as a resource. Topics on content strategy. I mean, it's easy. They even, like, when you click on it, it says it's going to take you 45 minutes to do this little course. And you click Start Course, shooting with the end in mind, these basic principles, finding the right tools, budget, equipment. Are you using a smartphone, DSLR, or a pro camcorder? So I want to direct everyone to the YouTube Creator Academy because it can answer. This is where you can actually start putting, things to work here. Valerie, do you have any follow-up or are there any second questions about that?
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to mention to everybody. So if you wanted to do something like this, like an interview type show on YouTube or live, we are using StreamYard right now, and it's incredibly easy to use. There's a free version, and then there's a paid version. Paid version is incredibly cheap, in my opinion. And you can really have a lot of control over, like, as you've noticed, Stuart has been asking me to put things up on the screen and take things down. But he also has the ability to do stuff on his end too. So it's just a really great platform to utilize.
Yeah.
And let me throw a question at you here about
please.
The production quality. So Shannon Simons is wondering about the production quality, and she has just settled for just like real videos. So like vlog videos, I assume is what she's saying. I've actually seen her videos. She reads and speaks on the beach, and I think they look really great. Do you think that matters? Do you think people prefer the kind of like studio look, or does it depend on what your genre is, or what's the story with that?
Well, it depends on what your product is. If your product is to try, it's having an end in mind with the product. I would suggest to avoid making ad revenue your main revenue for your business. And so if ad revenue comes by views. So if your strategy is, I want to get views so that I can get more ad revenue, because in order to get high ad revenue, to really make it a compelling business, like, it's about $1 per 1,000 views, realistically. That's what things break down to. Okay, so if you want to sustain your business making $2, $3, $5, $7 grand a month, like, to really sustain your business, you're gonna have to be producing content that's getting 2 to 5 million views per month, just with the views. Like, I'm trying to do that as I'm a full-fledged online creator. And so if you can just understand that beforehand, that like AdSense and ad revenue, it can kind of be this thing that's looked at like, oh, that's what we need to do. But really, it can be a dangerous game. You can be chasing the dragon, and it end up realizing that it takes a lot. And then you're no longer an author, and now you're a full-fledged production studio. And so understand what your product is. If that's what you want to do, then jump with that, and then you can become a full-time like influencer. But if you're like, that's not what I want to do, I'm really going to focus on selling my book, or selling PDF downloads, or selling a course that I create, then you can really hone in and create video content that's really going to drive that product. And you may not need to be creating as much content as you would think. I would think if you are selling a book, a daily vlog probably would not be what you need to do, because you are putting a lot of production time into that, when the ad revenue, like $1 per 1,000 views, quite low, versus you could sell, you know, for 100 books and you'd be making, you know, like $100 or even more, or you'd have to get 100,000 views to equal that out. Does that make sense? I guess you can't respond back to me, but Valerie, maybe you can validate if that's making sense.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And this is something that I try to get across to the authors,
Yeah.
is that you can't just put something out there and not have some legs to support it. So
Yeah.
you can't just write a book and then hope and pray that it gets on bookshelves, and just hope and pray that people will like the cover, and hope and pray that they'll buy it then after that. And I think what you're saying is the same thing with the YouTube, and you need to figure out what works for you and where you want to put your energy in. If you want to be a YouTuber, if that's your final goal, then put all your energy into that, right?
Yeah.
And then the other things, the book, like for you, your book supports your speaking and your YouTube channel and those other things you do, right? It's not just about the book or just about the YouTube channel. But again, you have to do what works for you. You have to utilize your talents and go in that direction. You don't try to do something that you have no talent for. Like if you have no talent for speaking on camera, please don't feel like we're forcing you to do that.
Yeah, totally. And again, with all this, I would point everyone listening to the resources. Someone that has some sort of licensure. If you are sick, you go to a doctor. If you are struggling emotionally, you go to a therapist. If you need accounting or financial advice, you go to a financial advisor or an accountant. The same way with content marketing and sales, find resources, someone that has knowledge in marketing. And what's wonderful is that Cedar Fort offers these resources for people to use. And so work closely with the Cedar Fort marketing team and say, this is what I'm thinking of doing. This is my focus strategy. We know the product and what it is. What are we going to do to create content around it? And a more focused approach. That's what I have found has worked best for me in content and in YouTube. A more focused, deliberate approach. Sometimes that can be discouraging because you're seeing people creating lots of content and they're putting it out a lot of frequently. You can get like, I gotta be uploading a video every single day. But a more focused approach, I feel, is the better way of doing things. Any other questions, Valerie, or anything else you want to follow up on?
Here's a fun comment for you. One of our authors, Trina Boyce, said that her son was in the BYU kissing video that you did.
Oh wow!
I don't know. I think she must mean that he was one of your victims.
Wow!
And she says that he went on to create the popular LDS dating app Mutual.
Oh wow!
Look at what you've done, Stuart. You've changed this man's life.
No, I don't think there's any correlation between the success he had and me.
Okay. You don't know. You don't know that.
No, I'm pretty sure I know. But hey, that's awesome. That's funny. That's cool. Okay, so now we'll start diving into some of these specifics about production quality and my process for creating an actual video, because maybe there are people, listening in that are like, I get it. I know I have my plan. I really just need help with understanding how to actually make something. So first off, my steps of production are this. Before shooting, I will create a folder to organize my footage. That is the first thing I do, because I understand that I need a place to have footage organized so that I can put it so I'm not going to be losing any footage. So first thing I'll do, I was open up my laptop and I will create a folder. And if anyone's interested, I can send you, I actually have a video where I go into this. And in fact, I'm going to right now kind of go through a typical upload typical upload process. So go to youtube.com, click sign in right here. Passwords, got to verify. Okay. Okay, so here we have YouTube. This is my Stu Crew channel. This is my separate channel. I used it as behind the scenes content. I haven't posted on it for a while, so I think it'll be a good one to show, because maybe some of you guys will be kind of starting at this same level where not much content has been posted or little engagement is being had. So in this side over here, you see your little icon. You can go to your channel, and that will pull up my YouTube channel. You can also go down to YouTube Studio. And then this pulls up your channel dashboard, and you can see lots of different things. You can see your dashboard, your videos, playlists, analytics. Look at this, views are up. My channel got 4,958 views in the last 28 days. This is my Stuart Edge Extra channel. You can see estimated revenue, $0. Look at that. Now, the reason why, so I think what's important to see is how do you start making money on YouTube? In this tab over here on monetization, it shows grow with YouTube. As a YouTube partner, you'll be able to earn money from your videos, get creator support, and more. In order to be part of a YouTube program, your channel needs 4,000 public watch hours in the last 12 months and 1,000 subscribers. Your channel will also get reviewed to make sure it follows YouTube monetization policies. So my channel does meet the 1,000 required, but I had not posted in this channel for over a year. And so it dropped below the required 4,000 hours of watch time in 12 months. And so I got my monetization taken out. A channel with 180,000 subscribers is not monetized on YouTube. Very interesting. I have to keep posting content on there. So that's something that you need to be aware, is that most platforms have a standard of what you have to be doing to start making money on the page. With analytics, you can dive into so much. You can see reach, impressions, click-through rates. This helps with thumbnails, because really the thumbnail of your video is kind of like a billboard. A lot of people don't read your title, so you can test and see if people are actually clicking through. You can see engagement and top videos and seeing which ones are performing best. You can look at your audience and see who the audience is. When your viewers are on YouTube, maybe you want to start doing a live stream. Well, this shows when most of your viewers are online. Check this out. Sunday mornings at like 8 a.m., most of my viewers are online. I could do a live stream there. Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. If I wanted to do a live stream, I know that most of my subscribers are there. This is also an amazing thing. It shows which of your subscribers have the bell notification. The bell notification is where they get a notification every time you upload a video. Look at this, 1.8 thousand people have the bell on. That's 1%, but that's a lot of people. That if I uploaded a video right now, 1.8 thousand people would get a notification. These are probably diehard fans. What if I uploaded a video saying, hey, if you like this book, you can get it for 50% off. Like, they bought it for $10. I mean, that's money right there. So there's so much information in the analytics that can really help you grow your YouTube channel and turn that into revenue outside of the advertising revenue.
Hey, Stuart,
Valerie,
can I ask you
go ahead.
question? Oh,
yes, please go ahead.
So when you were building your YouTube channel, and you were looking at your analytics early on, how did that shape what you did with your YouTube channel? Did you use that to ride the wave with what people liked and just like hope you got whoever? Or did you try to adjust your content to get a certain audience?
Yeah, I going back to that first slide, that don't name the chickens, I used it as a way of saying, look, this is what people are enjoying. This is the length of time that people are enjoying. This is where people are dropping off. This joke that I said in this part, people didn't think it was funny because they clicked off. I use it as a way to go through and do the editing. I edited the videos, but then the actual editing of the main process. And as authors and whatnot, we all know this process with the rough draft process. We're so good at it. We've done it before. And now it's just shifting that to the same way, but on a more broad scale. But that's what to wrap that up, I would say it mainly was the way of saying, look, if I want to make this as a career and not just a hobby, what are people watching? What are people liking? What are the people that are doing? And I would just capitalize on that.
And that goes back to that whole content thing again, where you have to consistently keep producing that content to keep people interested in your channel, or else you wouldn't have these analytics to figure out what they're liking and what they're not liking, right?
Yeah, and you would be surprised at how fast a channel can grow by diving into these analytics. It's almost comical because we talk about, oh, it's hard to be a YouTuber, but like, if you really do dive into these analytics, things will blow up. The data does not lie, right? Like, it is here, and YouTube provides so much analytics. And even if your subscriber count is 9, like mine was at the beginning, that's still data you can still work with, and you can still grow from that. And maybe it's more up to 1,000 or 50,000, like just more stuff to work with. So I would highly encourage to dive into the analytical side of your channel and see, just see what you're seeing. See what you're seeing. Put that in a book. Just
so
see
that
what you're seeing.
click-through rate,
yes,
that's when people click on the thumbnail from like a search page, right?
Yes. Yep.
So can we talk about thumbnails a little bit? And because I know that that's a huge important thing on YouTube. Is the thumbnail, the way it's composed, what it says, it's all about the clicks, right?
Yeah. So, and the beautiful thing is you can change thumbnails, and so you can test. I will do that. It's a practice I do. I will upload a video with a thumbnail. YouTube has changed where, and I had to change out of this mindset where the thought, like, it's the first hour that counts. And so I stressed so much over which thumbnail I would do, because if I don't get the right thumbnail in that first hour, the video is dead. It's not the case. I have uploaded a video with a certain thumbnail, and it has done. It spiked for the notifications, and then it dropped. And I changed the thumbnail, and then it would go up. So thumbnail testing is such an important part. If you have this fear that you need to get the perfect thumbnail right at the beginning, just get that out of your mind. Thumbnail testing is so important. If people aren't clicking, I mean, that's a sign right there. If people aren't clicking, they're probably not going to keep clicking within that first 24 to 48 hours. And so change something up. Think, okay, maybe the thumbnail is not clear enough. YouTube Creator Academy has great insights on how to create effective thumbnails. I would, for the sake of this presentation, I would say get used to thumbnail testing.
So if they're clicking on your thumbnail, so that means you've nailed the thumbnail. But then if they're clicking out of the video, then you've got a problem with the content.
Yes. But or
it's not the right audience, right? Maybe the thumbnail brought in the wrong people.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised too. Like, if people click through, like, especially on YouTube, if people click through, like, people are sticking around. Especially, I mean, even on TikTok and Instagram, I've been talking with the people, the analytics. TikTok told me, like, if people watch the first 2 seconds, they'll stick around for the whole video. And I was like, wow. And it's like, yeah. So I think with YouTube as well, like, focus on, eventually work on creating content that does have a consistent story throughout, but give yourself some forgiveness with, maybe it's not the best, because if people click, if you can get people to click through, if there's a sharp spike, then that means that there's no correlation between your thumbnail and the content. But if it's not like a sharp spike, then give yourself some forgiveness with the content, and then eventually work on it. I'm just trying to get at, like, it's not you don't have to get so much anxiety about how well your content is edited. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So we've got 10 minutes left. So all of our viewers, I encourage you to hurry up and get any more questions added to the comments there so we can get them to Stuart before we're done here. Yeah.
So, and then I will just continue. So when you're here, you can click create. You can go upload videos. You can then select files. Go to my desktop. This is my folder organization video, where I explain how to organize a folder. I click. Now, with a title, is just descriptive but not too long. You know, how to is a very great search term on YouTube. People pops up a lot. How to create folder organization. How to create a folder organization. Description. Learning how to create a organize a folder for editing. Right, very simple. There's not very simple. People think, oh, it's all about the tags. Really, it's not as much as you think. You can create a thumbnail. You can upload a thumbnail, create a custom one. This is important to state whether or not it's made for kids. This is like content that's you know, cartoons and stuff like that. I'm saying no. There's no age restriction. Anyway, and you can click through different video elements and then publish. So I just wanted to show the process of uploading a video. Valerie, any other questions?
You have a request to do a collab with somebody.
Oh, wow. Who's the, I mean.
So Trina Boyce wants to do a collab with you. She has a bunch of YouTube channels. She does a bunch of stuff. We'll get you her contact info later. One thing that somebody commented on and said that it's easy to get overwhelmed, and it's important to remember that it's not necessary to do everything, but it's important to do more than what you're doing now. And I think that's a really, really good point. Is if you are struggling with making sales and building your platform and an audience, then you've got to do a little bit more than what you're currently doing, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Start there. I mean, if YouTube doesn't work for you or Facebook doesn't work for you, don't do them. Pick the one that works the best for you. And if that doesn't work, then maybe it's just paid ads for you, you know?
Yeah. And one thing I would suggest too with this is understanding. I've had to learn to push off the things I don't understand. And so understanding to get into a mindset and really think like, is my skill really just the creation of the content that I'm going to hire out or whatnot, the editing side of things, the YouTube, the advertising, the marketing. And you're like, well, I don't even have money. I'm strapped. There are lots of places that will do a commission based. You know, they take 10, 20, 30% of just the revenues for doing this advertising work. And again, even Cedar Fort, like the resources that Cedar Fort has, I would just encourage everyone to start the conversation, to break through and collaborate in the sense where you have a lunch and you kind of just talk, but really learning to take this seriously and being okay outsourcing it. If you have questions, and you guys can contact me, I know people that I could connect you with that their job is to do this back end stuff and help, and they just take a commission base, right? Which is so great, you know, especially for smaller startups. But just learning, and I hope from this talk that I gave, is learning what it is that you are able to do, knowing what is out there, but then learning what you're going to take on and what you're going to pass off or collaborate with another person on.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people get hung up on, well, you know, I can't afford to pay somebody to help me with editing or whatever. But if it takes your content up to that level where you can actually get some ad revenue and you're actually selling books, I think it's worth a try. I think you've got to try. You got to be you got to be brave in everything you do in any industry where you're putting yourself out there, whether it's videos or books or whatever it is. You have to be really brave and thick-skinned too. I have another question for you here. Melanie Young wants to know. Melanie Young, by the way, has a big radio show. Melanie, if you're still here, type in the comments what your radio show is so that people can go and watch that. She wants to know what the best equipment is to use to shoot video and backdrops. Now, you kind of don't really do that kind of thing, but you might know.
Yeah, so I would suggest go to Indeed.com, Indeed Jobs, and search video production. Hire a guy for $100 to come and set up your studio.
Nice.
That's like first thing right there. It's a small investment. They come professional lighting, someone who knows it, and they professional sound. Like you could be in your basement. Like I'm just in my basement right now, and I've had just the little knowledge I have, just set up some lights. But I myself, I'm going to be doing this as well. Going to Indeed Jobs, finding a freelance person that can come and just turn this into a much more professional studio. But so some basic understandings, I would say lighting is going to be key. Tripods, distance. Mobile phones are good as a start, but eventually you'll want to kind of get up to more high quality. The camera right here, I would say this is top of the line, top production. This is the Canon C200. It's about a $5,000 camera. So this, I would say, is like top of the line that you would probably need for, for the kind of startup or small stuff that we might be doing. So Canon C200 probably top of the line for what's needed. But if you can't afford that and start doing that, I would say that's where you're going to get the highest quality production value. You can, put microphones directly into this, something like that. But there's a lot of point and shoot cameras that you can use that are great. Again, it's understanding how much can I truly afford to invest. And I would highly suggest talking with a consultant or marketing, the Cedar Fort. Everyone there is so great. They can help direct those questions.
Here's another question for you from Lene. She wants you to talk about the importance of just continually showing up and not giving up if something isn't working. And how do you know when it's time to just try something else?
Yeah. Well, anything I've done in my life that's been successful, it's crossed that, stopped. It's crossed that. I've gotten there because I consulted with someone else. I brought somebody else in as a one-time consultation or a continual consultation, and I said, here's what I'm working on. What do you think? And I got another person's perspective. So anytime anything has worked, it's probably because I brought another person's perspective in. I think that's a principle that's so important, of just bringing other people in. I mean, the power of community and counsel and collaboration. And again, I could just keep pointing to the resources that Cedar Fort offers. I mean, they have a full marketing team that is there to assist authors that knows so much of this stuff, right? And so before stopping or starting anything, I would consult with someone that does that. Even if I know people, if you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to do that as well. But consult with people.
So one thing to keep in mind with the Cedar Fort marketing team is that our main purpose is actually to support you in your marketing efforts, not to market for you. Now, while we do run ads for people's books and those sorts of things that we can do, we can't help you build a platform. We can't build this up for you. These are the things that you need to do. That's why we do these marketing conferences.
Yeah.
So here's another question from Julie. She wants to, she's asking about the phone for recording, or does it need to be the good quality video camera?
That's, I would think, what is your product? What is the thing that you are trying to sell? Or it's not always something you're trying to sell, but maybe the message. What is the message? Phones can be great, but I would say with whatever it is, why are you trying to film? Are you trying to film something to, maybe if she can comment while I'm saying this, Valerie, so I can get a little bit more information like what her product is, but a general principle is understand what it is that you're trying to do. There are lots of things that I go and shoot on my phone because I think I want it to have a relatable feel. And the phone gives that view. In some way, it's just something that the shot on an iPhone, the way it's composed in the camera just has a relatable feel to it. If I'm sitting down talking to a camera, I will use sometimes my phone, but I will have some sort of external audio to bump up the quality. If I'm doing a walk around vlog-esque type, I'll just vlog kind of holding my phone like this. But if I would suggest if you're sitting down in some sort of studio, you can use your phone, have some sort of external audio source along with that.
Yeah, that's a good point, because that's kind of where phones are lacking nowadays, is that.
Yeah.
Phones have excellent video quality nowadays.
Yeah.
And I think, Julie, just kind of to add to that, like Stuart was saying, it depends on, like, are you going for like a vlog look? Then I think a phone would be totally fine in most instances. But I think the number one thing is, if you're not doing like the vlog style, editing is key, probably more so than video quality, because you don't want to bore people and have people run from your video because you have all these messy spots and stuff going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have, let's see. Oh, Julie responded and she said, maybe the author reading a bit of book could be done on a phone camera, but a trailer done with a professional one.
Yeah, I think a general rule is anytime if there's movement, a phone, it's great. The movement, because you can move into the subject, you can move out. Your son or daughter or friend could like get a video of you reading the book, kind of getting close to the page. If you're not moving, I would suggest use your phone, but have some sort of external audio source, a lavalier mic like this, put on. Again, I do consultations and like all this stuff. So if anybody has like questions about like specific things feel free to send me an email. Stuart@stuartedge.biz. I mean, just throw it up there if you want or whatnot. But somehow get in contact with me. I'd be happy to consult and give you guys this information, because I really think as authors, and we've already gone through like the creation process before with something, and now it's just kind of like putting those principles into the other creation process. I see this question: are green screens considered lame now, or are they still okay? I think it's okay. I think they're okay, personally. I think if you can spend the time to create some sort of backdrop that looks nice, especially given this Zoom online culture where everyone's throwing a green screen behind their head, I would suggest if you could have an actual physical backdrop.
I think I agree with you in most instances. I think there's probably times when a green screen backdrop is probably okay. I know I watch a couple YouTube channels, but they kind of joke about it, and it's kind of like part of their show that they have the funny green screen background. So I don't know. Again, it's very individual to you, Trina, and what you're doing and how it works. So.
Yeah. And again, the beautiful thing about, as Cedar Fort mentioned, that they are here to consult and to help with us in our marketing efforts. And I think a lot of questions have been coming up right now with production, and then just bringing these to Cedar Fort and saying, here's what I'm thinking, and they can respond right back with more specific plans for you.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Stuart. You've given us 5 more minutes than we asked you for, so I appreciate that a lot. But I felt like we really needed to wrap up those questions. This is your last chance, last like 5 seconds to ask Stuart something. If you're there and you haven't asked yet, this is your chance to do it. Otherwise, I'm going to let him go. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you so much.
No problem. It was an honor, and again, reach out to others. Like I said, anytime I've done anything successful in any side, it's been in counsel or collaboration with other people and bringing my ideas. And so reach out and reach out to me. I mean, in the description of all my YouTube videos, there's an email that can be contacted. I'd be happy to help in any way I can. All
right. Thank you so much. Everybody in the comments says thanks. Thanks to you too. All right. Bye, Stuart. Okay. Thank you, Stuart, so much. I thought that was really great. And he's such a funny guy. He has a really unique story. You can read about it in his book. I actually can't remember the title at the moment. So, Stuart, if you're still there, can you put it in the comments what the title of your book is? I know that the tagline is something about a crappy job. Oh, it's On the Edge. Something on the Edge. Anyway, okay, so I let us go over for that because I'm only stealing from my own time because now it's time for the author collaboration. So I have it's just really hard to do it this way, isn't it? But we are on social media, and this is how we will actually be collaborating. If we do collaborations, very few collaborations are actually like in person without being broadcast on social media. So we can make this work, right? So does anybody want to put in the comments some successful things that you've done? And then after I go through my collaboration slides, then we will go through those and kind of talk about what everybody else has done. So give me just a second to pull up my slides. Okay. So where did my slides go? There we go. All right. So what success have you had with marketing? I'm sure we've all had a little bit of success, right? I know you're here to learn about marketing, but surely you've had some success. Oh, Stuart Edge's book is How My Crappy Job Changed My Life. Okay, so Jen wants to know, are we talking about things we've done in the marketing realm or with publishing in general? Let's stick with book marketing, what successes you've done, unless you can figure out a way that what you've done outside of that can kind of work for people to market their books as well. Okay, so Mark says he's been doing a lot with blog reviews. It's slow, but it's building, and he's been doing both ends where he submits to other blogs and also where he reviews other books on his blog. So we even use Mark when the genre fits. We use Mark and send him copies that he can review because he has a pretty decent following. And yeah, it is just one of those things. It just takes a lot of time to build up and to grow. So what kind of things have you been doing, Mark, to build your blog? Let's start there. Yeah, Mark says that he just reviewed Ransom. That's one of our books by Callie Schmidt. It's a young adult book, which is why I sent it to him, because that's kind of what he's been working on. Even though he was doing, was it grilling or Dutch oven? I think it's Dutch oven, right, Mark? Okay, Jen Peterson says she's been doing speaking engagements with book signings, and those have worked on occasion. Well, let's just talk about that for a minute, because nobody can really do book signings right now. I heard rumors that people were doing book signings outside of bookstores, but then when it really came down to it, and I was directing my authors to ask bookstores to do that, they were being told no. So we can't do book signings right now, although they do work. I found if you don't have a large following at a book signing, what you have to do is you can't just sit there and hope that people will take pity on you and come talk to you and get a book signed, that they don't know who you are or what your book is about. You have to sell every copy. So you have to get people's attention and introduce yourself and tell them what your book is about. But generally, when you do, a large percentage of those people will buy your book and have you sign it, versus the amount of people who would buy a book from an online ad or something, or like even a Facebook post. People just scroll right past those. So yeah, book signings work really well, and hopefully soon we'll be able to do them again. Okay, so Mark says he does it as a story blog, where he does 2 scenes a week. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so Mark is providing the content here. That's what the story blog is about. That's really cool, Mark. I've thought about doing this myself, but since I write and work, I just don't have the time. Not saying that Mark doesn't work, but for me personally, I don't have the time. Oh yeah, Mark did Dutch ovens several years ago. Let's see. Here's one from Kathy. They did a reading trek Facebook page events this summer. It was slow, but there had been some growth. So probably if you guys use some of these marketing techniques that you'll learn today about, how to get the engagement and work the algorithm on the social media, you guys will be able to grow it every year into something really big. And then once you've captured that audience, it's a lot easier to remarket and grow with them. So Trina said she was speaking at a virtual conference, and it's way more effective than book signing, even though she thinks both are fun. Oh, that's very interesting, Trina. So Trina writes nonfiction LDS, so that would work really well for her, because she also has a bunch of degrees and she taught in colleges and stuff. So she has the background in order to do that kind of thing. That's a really, really great option for you if you're like Trina. I mean, you don't need as many degrees as Trina has. I think she's got like 6 or something, but 1 would do fine. Okay, hi, Brett. He said, oh no, this is Jeanette again. Jeanette says book signings work for her when there's someone there to direct her traffic. That's a really good point. Another thing that I want to say about book signings is that if you're sitting there in a bookstore that's empty, it doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to be able to sell any books. So if you can, go on a day when the bookstore will be very busy for whatever reason, if you can't bring in your own audience. If you've got fans already, then make sure you let them know on social media and through your newsletter that you're going to be somewhere signing books, and then hopefully they'll show up. Oh, Mark says he did a lot of farmers markets. Now, Mark, are you talking about with your Dutch oven cookbooks? Because that seems like a really brilliant idea. That's the perfect place. Those people are there buying food. They probably really like cooking. So that's right where your audience is. That's a brilliant idea. Sandra Meter says you can do virtual book signings, sign the books, and have a virtual video party. Okay, Sandra, give me some more details in the comments about what you mean by that. How do you do the virtual book signing? I think what you're saying is that you sign the book online and then you mail it off to them, right? I think that's what you're saying. I think I've heard of that from somebody else before. Mark wants to know what a PB author is. I would like to know that as well. I'm not sure what that is. Jen says, one of my books is a really short gift type book, and I've sold a bunch in bulk toward and stake young women's groups. That's probably her Be the Chocolate Chip book, right, Jen? And that's a really brilliant way to do that is to sell. That's her audience right there, right? And with those short gift type books, those are also really great at book signings. So we have an author who writes, her books are about motherhood and fatherhood. I think it's Motherhood with the Prophets and Fatherhood with the Prophets. And they're those teeny little, coffee table size books. Actually, they're children's book size, but they're meant to be like for your coffee table or for like a gift. And they will sell hundreds at a time because that's, they go to like Deseret Book and they do it on Mother's Day weekend and they sell hundreds at a time. Nobody really knows who they are and knows what the book is about, but it's a perfect gift. And so it just works really well for them. Oh, picture book is what a PB book is. Thank you, Kathy. Let's see. Mark says here in Eagle Mountain, we have a pretty active writing author scene. Last year, and hopefully next year, we set up some tables outside a local grocery store as a citywide author group. And I love this idea. And if you know authors in your area, this is what we're talking about, being collaborative. I'm going to have a whole, class on that later on being collaborative is work with the people around you. You're not in competition with each other. You're not. What you can do is you share your audience. So it works really, really well. Let's see. Kendall says he's tried to network with the bookstore salespeople. They help sell the books when he wasn't there. Brilliant, Kendall. That is when I go into the bookstores, I schmooze. Is that the right word? I schmooze the people that work there because I want them to think kindly of me and my book and, maybe put it up in the front instead of in the back, turned sideways, where all you can see is the spine, because they really do sell the books, the way that they arrange the store when people come in and ask for something. So if you have a good relationship with the people in the bookstore, that's really good. Melanie Young says, I use my podcast as a platform to market my book, and I conduct several interviews by radio. She hired a publicist that specializes in book marketing, and it's saving her a lot of time. And now Melanie, her radio show is really successful. She's on her 3rd edition of her book. So her book is doing really well as well. So I would listen to anything that Melanie says. And we're going to have Melanie back to give us some tips at our next marketing conference for everything that she's doing. Melanie, tell us a little bit more about your publicist and what they do for you. And at what point in your career as an author or a personality is it the right time to get a publicist and stop going it on your own? Kathy says she's appeared at book clubs. I've done book clubs too, and they're really, really fun. The book clubs, if you know someone who runs a book club, then they're kind of backwards because you do the sale first and then you go to the book club, right? Because they have to read your book before, you come and talk to them at the book club. But try those. We should see if we could find a list or make a list of people who run book clubs. If you have worked with a book club, email me and give me their contact information if you feel comfortable doing that. I'll put them on my list regionally, and then we'll kind of share book clubs. I think that could work really well. Melanie says also that she does speaking engagements and also cross collaborations with brands who want to support authors and experts. Speaking engagements, if you are a nonfiction writer, are key, I think. All of our successful authors who are nonfiction, it doesn't matter if they're LDS or whatever nonfiction it is, do speaking engagements of some sort. All the ones I can think of. If you're an exception, let me know. But all the really popular ones I can think of. Kathy says she does booths at the state fair, and that's good for visibility and getting signups for newsletters. Oh, that's such a good idea. And I'm going to talk about this a lot of capturing your audience. So everywhere you go. So when we sell at a bookstore, we can't capture our audience, right? And when we sell on Amazon, we don't get that audience's information to resell back to them. Amazon has all the control. So Kathy's taking that control back by getting people to sign up for her newsletter in person when she's there. So when you do book signings, you do speaking engagements, you do anything in person, have a list out there, encourage people to sign up for your mailing list, your emailing list. Okay, so Sandra Meters gave me some clarification on the virtual book signing. So she says, sign the books and then mailing them, and then you do a virtual party. And that Covenant does that with romance authors. And one thing that Tyler likes to talk a lot about is being the host of a party, right? So if you're the host of the party and you're bringing like all the popular people to your party, all that does is elevate like where you are in social standings, right? And that marketing is kind of the same thing. I'll let him tell you guys his story later. He does a better job telling it. Let me just check time here because we have our tour at 12:30. But I want to get through these comments because these are really great. Okay, Jen Brewer says she hasn't done this yet, but her plan is to offer online book club appearances where we discuss the steps outlined in the book. Jen, don't you think this could be a great way to utilize a YouTube channel as a platform that you do your book club? You could also use Facebook and you could use Instagram. So whichever one, they all have video ability. So just choose the one that you like, right? Okay. Jeanette says, who are brands who want to support authors and experts? You don't have a question mark. Are you asking me, or I'm not sure if you're asking me or telling me. Let's see. Melanie says the first time around she did her own PR and she did it very well since that's her background. But hiring a publicist is important because they package your information, identify target media, and schedule for you. So big time saver, right, Melanie? You're the expert and need to focus on the topics you will speak about. Radio is a great way to provide links to purchase books. So I think that when you're starting out, you're probably going to want to do a lot of stuff yourself and work really hard. But as you get more successful, time is money, right? And you want to probably invest a little bit of money into people helping you with the things that aren't your strong suits so that you can do more of what you love, which is writing or speaking or whatever it happens to be. Less video editing, less social media posting. You can hire a social media assistant that will do posting for you. And they're actually not that expensive. They're really not. Are there any other children's book authors here? Kathy wants to know. Have you ever done school visits? Stuart Edge actually does school visits. He does like a speaking tour to schools when it's not COVID. So he could definitely help you with that, Kathy. Mark did a lot of Dutch oven demos. I had to do them privately though because public ones require expensive licensing from the health department. Okay. I feel like, and I'm probably wrong, but I feel like that the cookbook authors have like the easiest road when it comes to marketing because it's literally just like doing a cooking demonstration, sharing a recipe, and doing a video of cooking the recipe, right? So you just have to come up with the recipes. But I'm good at cooking, so maybe that's why I feel like it would be easy. Okay, so what I need to do is get Bryce set up for the tour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause here. I'm going to take myself off the screen so you can't hear me talking and figuring this out. Please keep collaborating in the comments. You don't have to stop just because I'm gone, but I want to get the tour ready so that we can stay on schedule. And then if I have extra time before 12:30, we'll keep going back through all of these questions and comments here. Okay, hi guys. We're live in my office. We're just waiting for Bryce to get set up to do the live tour. Everybody say hello to Bryce. Okay. I think they're almost ready. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Bryce, president of Cedar Fort, and I am so happy to be able to give you a tour. This is my office, and I'm so excited to be able to walk around the building, show you a little bit about who does what, and also show you about all the cool things that we're doing. First of all, thank you to everyone who is attending our conference, or those of you who are going to see this video after the fact. The publishing industry is constantly changing. And Cedar Fort, many of you know, was started in 1986. And just to kind of remind you, how long ago is 1986? This is my dad and Doyle. I wonder if you could guess which one's my dad, with glasses or without glasses. But Lyle and Doyle was his brother. They worked together in a publishing company called Randall Publishing. That ended up going bankrupt. Cedar Fort was a broker company started in 1986 that was trying to keep Randall Press afloat. Long story short, it didn't. Doyle ended up working at Alexander's print shop, one of our main printers that we use. He runs Alexander's there. And then Lyle continued to run Cedar Fort all the way up until 2015. At 2015, I purchased Cedar Fort from my dad and his business partner, Lee Nelson. So I'm in my 5th year running the business, and it is an adventurous business. There's so many ups and downs and fun twists and turns that happen in publishing, but I'm so happy about it. I love this business. I love what we do, because what we do makes a positive impact, a positive difference in people's lives. I wish I had all the time in the world to be able to share some of the stories and what drives me and why I do what I do. And so I give an open invitation for anybody who wants to come and visit. Feel free to come to my office and get to know the Cedar Fort team a little bit more, get to know me a little bit more. But let's get on with the tour. Starting with my family. If you look at the wall over here, this is my family, my beautiful wife, my 3 children. My son was just baptized into the LDS church couple Saturdays ago. Love my family. That's what we do everything for, right? Our families and our friends. Let's start at the entrance. Here we've got Candy Grinder, and then we've got Rachel Hathcock. So Candy over here, she is our main receptionist, and she's my executive assistant. So she's phenomenal. Everything that she does is very quick, prompt, and she's so good at what she does. Candy, can you introduce yourself?
And I did pay him to say that, by the way, so I'm just wanting you to know. It cost me. Anyways, so Rachel's job and my job is to just be there for you as authors. We're just so excited to be able to serve you. If you ever need to place an order, give us a holler. If you have any unresolved issues with anybody in the company, I have this great whip that I just go after them for you. So don't hesitate to give us a holler. And we just glad that you're joining us today. As a me, I love to just hang out with people and family. My job is just to love people with God's love and hang out with my grandbabies and bike and hike and eat sugar every once in a while. So anyways, you all have a blessed day.
It's fitting for Candy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel Hathcock. I do a lot of the orders. I do a lot of author support as well. I've been working here a little more than a year and I love it. In my spare time, I like to read, I like to cross stitch, and I like to spend a lot of time with my dogs and off-roading in the new Jeep that my husband and I got. It's great to meet you. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you both. Okay, we will continue down here. I absolutely love the Cedar Fort team. You'll see what great people we have. Valerie, you're not sitting behind the microphones. All right, Valerie, we know what Valerie does, but Valerie, go ahead and introduce some of the things that you do just to kind of pull it all under one umbrella for us.
Sure. So I work with the marketing team, but my purpose. Let me turn down my sound. Hold on. It's very distracting. So my purpose, though, is to work directly with the authors and support you in your marketing, not necessarily marketing Cedar Fort. I'm here to help you with your marketing. And in doing that, I do the podcasts, and I help authors with just all the things that are kind of outside of the publishing world that you need help with. Here's my big list. Turn over there. All of our books that are coming up. I'm trying to keep track of everybody that I need to get a hold of. Make sure that they're on track with what they need to be doing to build their platform.
Awesome. So that's Valerie, and you know what she does. She's wonderful. We love having her. Next is Tanya. Tanya Adams. So Tanya oversees our royalties, the accounts receivable, accounts payable. She reviews the financials. Tanya, introduce yourself.
Tanya Adams. I send out royalty checks every month on the 20th, and your statements. So if there's something wrong with your statement, there shouldn't be, but if there is, you give me a call. I love gardening. I love kayaking, and I've spent most of my summer finishing my basement.
Thank you, Tanya. And if you pan over here, we've got Angela. Now zoom in nice and close on Angela, because for two reasons. Number one, Angela hates being on camera. And number two, she just dyed her hair so that she matches the protagonist of the next book that she's writing. And
Yes.
that doesn't the protagonist have freckles as well?
Yes, she does.
So, all right. So we've got a nice good view.
And a sassy attitude.
And a sassy attitude. So I'm definitely
Yeah,
trying
the
to
most
develop
important
a
part, the
sassy
sassy attitude. Okay, Angela.
I'm Angela, and I am the talent acquisitions manager. So I am looking for talented authors. And on top of that, I take care of all of our contracts. And when I am not at work, I am an author for Cedar Fort, just like you guys. And I am working on an MFA in creative writing.
Awesome. Yeah, she just finished her master's and now getting that MFA, which is really exciting. Equivalent to a PhD.
Yes.
Right? Super cool. All right, let's continue down the hall. So we'll go down this way. This is the hall of all of the Jesuses that are on the wall. Kind of humbles you as you walk down it. Inside this office is Kim Clemens. Kim oversees all of our purchasing, our buying. She oversees the production team. So Kim, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a great day at our conference, and we welcome you to our plant and virtual tour. I handle both books and our gift line in procurement. Make sure that your books are here on time to meet your release date, always, and with a beautiful cover on it. And secondly, I lead our production team and coordinate with them to make sure that our schedules are met, and again, that your books are published in a timely fashion. And personally, my interests are cooking. I make a new recipe every Sunday. That's just one of my things that I do. And I like to collect cookbooks, and I have a passion for my dog fur children. So with that, we are going to go into the production office. And this is where our editor-in-chief, Heather Holm, normally sits. She's working from home because of COVID. She has been here forever, like 14 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So we miss having her here in person, but we love her and talk to her almost every day. And then Shonda is our design manager.
Hi.
And she kind of leads the design side of things. And Shonda's also been here a long time. How long have you been here now?
8 years.
8 years. So
8 years.
yeah,
That's a long time.
it is. So very excited to have you meet her. And
Shonda, what do you like to do on your own time?
When I'm not working here, I guess I gotta not be creative because that's what I do all day long. So we go camping. We play outside a lot. Not in the snow though. So when the snow comes, I don't know what I'm gonna do because it's gonna be cold. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Awesome. Thank you both.
thank you.
I know Shonda's a really phenomenal photographer as well. She does a lot of things on the side that she's very talented. All right, we'll come out to the warehouse. This is a new section actually that we're just building out right now with the new racking. Many of you might know we used to have a Books and Things retail store here that we converted to cedarfort.com, and now we're using this overhead space for some of the books and the products that we have. So come with me down here. I'll show you a couple things. Kind of pan over on this side. Look at the yellow shelves. Every single box is a unique product. So take a look down these aisles here. Every single box on the yellow shelves is an individual product. So lots and lots of products here. In fact, we have 4,000 active products. That's the physical version. If you add on top of that the ebooks, and then you add on top of that the audiobooks, there's a lot of active products that we're overseeing and working with. Here's another aisle where you can see all the different rows, the different products. Well, come on down here. This warehouse, by the way, that we're in is 16,000 square feet. And then we have a second warehouse over here that's also 16,000 square feet. And you can see down those aisles, you can see more of the books down below. Up above is all the overhead storage. And lots of cool things there. All right, Tyler, you got to get a view of this door. My beehive is outside that door. I love bees. That's one of the things I do on the side, so I've got a beehive out that door. For any of you that might be beekeepers. All right, let's go over to the gift side of the business. As I mentioned, we have 4,000 active products. That includes books, and it includes gift items. So we have gift items like wrapping paper, gift bags, stickers, tie bars for the LDS marketplace. So a lot of the types of products that you would see in Deseret Book, Siegel Book, a lot of those types of products come from Cedar Fort. Now, this is important for you to understand as an author because there are times that we will bundle a physical book with a gift item. So for instance, we just released a book this, when was it? August or September, the ICU. Yeah. That book, we have a bracelet that goes with it, a little bracelet that says ICU on it. And so that works really well. In some cases, it makes sense. It doesn't always make sense for us to do that. But it sets Cedar Fort apart a little bit where we do have access to manufacturing and bringing in some of that, bringing in some products and making a companionship with a book. All right. When we are working the warehouse, all the work will come up to these scanners. We scan through the products, make sure we know exactly what's on every single cart. That then flows up to this section here. Also, it can be scanned at this section, and then it gets boxed, and then it moves on to these pallets. So here's a section where we've completed some product. Here's a pallet that's heading out, looks like the Deseret Book, but we'll always start flowing. Everything, comes this way. Right over here is Bevan Olson. He's our director of logistics, so he oversees the warehouse, everything that we do. Bevan, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, I'm Bevan Olson. I've been here since 2006, so just a little over 14 years, and I've been in the warehouse the entire time managing things here and doing all the logistics.
What do you like to do when you're outside of work?
I love to be outdoors in the mountains, fishing, hiking, camping, and I like to do things with my hands. So a lot of little tinker stuff. Fix this, polish that, wash the truck, wash the car, do yard work, gardening. So
Bevan is really good at this tinkering that he says that he'll actually help fix a lot of the things inside this building. So he does a lot more than just oversee the warehouse. He'll keep it running. He'll keep the AC units going, the heaters going, make sure that we're all comfortable. So thanks, Bevan. All right, so we're almost towards the end of our tour. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them up on the screen. Tyler can ask them to me. So any questions that you might have, let us know because we're just about finished. Oh, all right, this is where Tyler sits. Give me this.
Oh, gosh.
All right, here's Tyler. Many of you met him a little bit earlier today. Tyler, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Tyler, I'm part of the sales and marketing team. You probably read my email saying your book is coming out, and we need you to get those pre-orders. You've probably also gotten some coupon codes from me, so we'll do a lot of graphic design here. And my hobbies are writing and drawing and spending time with my family.
Awesome. All right. So actually, before we introduce the rest of the sales and marketing team, let's actually go over and we'll introduce Drew first. Guys, we'll come right back.
Quick question for you, Bryce.
Yes.
From Trina Boyce, does Cedar Fort accept proposals for gift merchandise?
Hello, Trina. Yes, we do accept proposals for gift merchandise. So just feel free to send them to me, Bryce@cedarfort.com, and then I'll route it where it needs to go. That's awesome. And good to hear from you, Trina. I hope you're doing well. All right. So this is Drew Huffaker.
Hello.
So Drew is our VP of sales. She oversees everything we do with the sales team here. Drew has a really good, impressive resume. She used to be in charge of sales at not Phone Soap. Well, you did work with Phone Soap as well, but Blend Tech is the name I was trying to think of. So yep. Blend Tech, she helped get a whole bunch of blenders worldwide and all the Costco's. She oversaw that, has a lot of good relationships. She also sits on the board of trustees for UVU.
Yes, I do.
So the Utah Valley University. So Drew, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello. We love our authors. So glad to have you here today. So I oversee and work with an amazing team here in sales and marketing at Cedar Fort. Specifically, we have kind of a online group and we have a business to business group. So I work mostly with the direct retailers. I do distribution worldwide. We work through all kinds of wholesale and retail accounts. So we're over all that. So we're here to try to help sell your books, and we need your help as well. So what you can do within your little influence will really help us on our site. So glad to meet you. So glad that you're here today.
Awesome. Thank you, Drew. Drew really is awesome, and she oversees this wonderful team here. So we're going to start first with Sam. Sam, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Sam Oldroyd. I've been working at Cedar Fort with Bryce and the crew for about 3 years. I work with our regional distribution, so small shops, Ma's and Pa's, and then also some of our national distribution chains with Drew. So that's Costco, ReaderLink, Ingram, that kind of stuff.
Awesome. What do you like to do outside of work?
I'm an outdoorsman and a fan of Texas baseball, which is really bad right now. We just got out of last place, which is a plus. But yeah, when I'm not here, I like to be in the mountains, climbing, hiking, that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. Looks like Scott's ready to go. His chair turned around and everything. Scott, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Scott Jackson. I am also in sales. I've been here for just about 2 years at Cedar Fort. What are all the questions? What do I do? I've worked with the LDS accounts mostly, so Deseret Books, Eagle Book, and Latter-day Products, which is a independent here in the Valley. And more recently, I've been helping Drew with some of our international things. Sam and I are both helping with that. I am originally from Canada. You'll hear from me a little bit later, so I'll say a little bit more about that then. And what else? What I like to do? I love to write. I like to do a lot of things, but I've been saying no to a lot of things I like so I can have more time to write. So that's kind of been.
So have you enjoyed COVID then?
I have actually written less in COVID, unfortunately. So I have a toddler and it's harder to escape somewhere to write. And then I feel worse leaving my wife with the kid all day long.
So you're responsible.
So I hope that I'll be able to get. I wrote a novel at the beginning of the year, a first draft, first 3 months, and then COVID hit, and I haven't written much since. So
all right,
one
thanks,
book.
Scott.
Yeah.
All right, we've got Mallory Bush here. Mallory, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, like Bryce said, my name's Mallory. I'm on the marketing and sales team as well. I'm over our Instagram account as well as our Walmart account. So if you see any of your books or anything listed on Walmart, that's all me. And I do our Instagram stories, posts, anything like that. If you have any content you want me to post, shoot me an email. I'm open to collaborating with any of you guys. In my free time, I love to play the guitar. I just learned how to snowboard, so I'm happy it's getting a little bit colder down here, so I can give it another try.
Awesome, Mallory. Thank you. All right, last we've got Clint. Clint's right over here. Clint the Hunter. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Marketing and sales, work with Facebook. That's about it.
No, come on. Who are you over?
The website, Amazon, Kindle, any of the online marketing stuff.
So Clint works really closely with me and Drew. He oversees, Drew had mentioned that we have a business to business side of Cedar Fort and then a business to consumer side. And the consumer side is one that we've really been trying to build up and grow. For those of you who were at the last Cedar Fort Marketing Conference, I'd kind of shared some numbers of what cedarfort.com had done. And that included the last 90 days, which included November and December and January. Well, now the website has continued to grow. We're already at $400,000 year to date. We'll probably end around $750,000 just on cedarfort.com. And that's with Clint and his team, and Tyler and Valerie and Mallory and a whole bunch of the sales team here who've helped do that. It's phenomenal. One of my goals was I wanted to get cedarfort.com to be one of our in the top 5 customers of Cedar Fort. And cedarfort.com is getting up there. The reason why that's important for you as an author is because when we sell a product through the website, you get a higher royalty. Because we're typically selling it for a little bit more than wholesale, which is what we would get if we were just going to sell it to another customer. So Clint helps drive those royalty checks up with his team. And so I'm super excited about all that they've accomplished. And it just continues to work, go up and up and up. Just to put that into comparison, by the way, cedarfort.com last year did $30,000 online. Excluding November and December, because this team started working on it. But had it not been with this team, cedarfort.com would have ended up at 30 grand. So to be at $400,000 year to date, they're doing a great job. Yeah. We're happy about that. All right, and that's the tour. Let's hear any questions that we might have.
This is from Kendall Brian Hunter. Bryce, does Cedar Fort have a mission statement?
Kendall, good to hear from you. I met you at the last marketing conference. It's good to see you. We do have a mission statement. It's the mission of Cedar Fort to gather and develop life-enhancing and inspiring ideas and products, and we convey those to our customers in the most efficient, friendly, and effective manner. And that's really what drives us. So that's the mission behind what we do. We want to be able to bring that content, deliver it in a positive way to our members. Now, interestingly enough, I'm going to be releasing a new mission statement here, but I'm not going to bring it up yet. So we're working on that, and we're actually adapting it, which will help Cedar Fort continue to bring our authors and continue to build platforms that change the world. And I get so passionate about it. Okay, next question.
This is from Emily Chambers. Who else do you work with that doesn't work in the office? Bookstores, editors, etc.
Emily, I love you. Good to see. I love everybody who's asking questions, but Emily used to work here over 5 years. So I really love Emily. So Emily, we work with a lot of people, and I'm glad you brought this up, and you're helping me out here. So thanks for the prompt. Cedar Fort is now working with a lot of contractors. So our team used to be all in-house. As the world continues to change and as COVID continues to change, a lot of our production team is actually working from home. So we have readers who proofread or will go through manuscripts for us from home. We have editors who are working for us from home. We have designers and illustrators who are working for us from home. And we find that that's a much better fit for the company. Outside of that, of course, we work with all of our manufacturing outside of Cedar Fort. We don't manufacture any of the books here. We work all over the world in manufacturing. So awesome. Good question. And thank you for the prompt, Emily. Are there any other questions?
From Trina Boyce, I have a book I'd like to get into China. Do you have international distribution there?
We have had a little bit of international distribution, but not much. We just sold one to China this 2 months ago. It was our first one that went into China. We found a few things as we did that. It was a little bit tricky. They actually tax you on those foreign rights. So now we know to raise the prices so that then you can pay the Chinese taxes and then have the net amount be what you want. So we don't have a lot in China, but we can at least check out some of the connections that we have there.
Another question from Trina. How long do you keep our older books in stock?
We will keep the older books in stock as long as they continue to sell. We want to do, so we're changing a lot. I mentioned we're working on a new mission statement right now for the company. We're changing a lot. I don't want Cedar Fort to just be a book company. I want Cedar Fort to be a service company and a company that provides a lot of value to our customers. And we want to do it through platforms and building up author platforms. So a book is going to continue to be a sliver or a piece of that pie. We're really good at what we do with books. And so we'll always do that, but the world is changing. So we want to make sure that we can move Cedar Fort into the next stage.
This is from Molly. What do you envision for the future of CF?
There's a lot of things that I envision. The Cedar Fort team knows some of the things that we're working on. We've actually just sold a portion of the company, 10% of the company, to an incubator company called RevRoad. And that's super exciting because RevRoad has a lot of connections and a lot of opportunity for us to tie our vision into some of the practicalities and what we want to do. I don't want to go into all of that yet of what we see, so I'm going to hold back on that question. I only just gave you a little bit of information there. Any other questions?
At what point do you grant the author all the rights back for an older book?
So that's a good question. That all depends. I don't always grant the rights back and just turn them over and say, hey, we want to offer them back to you. A lot of the times that starts with the author reaching out to us and saying, hey, would you be interested in getting the rights back? At that point, we look at a number of things. What are the sales? What are the ebook sales? What are the audiobook sales? What's the physical copy sales? And how much inventory do we have in the back of the warehouse? Those factors go into making up those decisions. At the end of the day, we want to be really good at what we do so that authors want to work with us. At times, it makes sense to give the rights back, and we do give rights back a lot to authors who want to have them back over the years. I mean, when you consider we have 4,000 products that are active, we're going through a number of return of rights throughout a year. I would say we probably do, I don't know, anywhere from 1 to 10 return of rights every single month. So if you have that question, you want to look at doing that, just reach out to us. Angela oversees us. ajohnson@cedarfort.com. She oversees that section.
This is from Valiant Jones. How do you decide to put a book on sale and what sale prices should be?
Hey, Valiant, thank goodness I don't make those decisions. So that's part of the team here. If you want to know the answers to those questions, you'd work with Clint Hunter and Tyler Carpenter. They'd be able to help you with what we do and why we do it. Also, Drew, when it comes to the B2B. Of course, I oversee the overall margins for the company, and so there's certain things we want to do to make sure that the business is not losing money on what we're doing, and that's where I'll come into the piece. But when it comes to the actual marketing and the sales, that's in the other team members' hands.
Emily Chambers, not a question, but loving the Mr. Rogers vibe, Bryce.
Why don't you be my neighbor? Let me change my shoes. That's a perfect time to change things and move into Valerie. Thank you, guys. We love you all. Thank you for everything you do. Cedar Fort makes a difference. We make a difference, and it's because of you. So thank you for helping us feel like we're retired where we work. Have a great rest of your marketing conference. We'll turn it over to Valerie.
Hi, guys. I'm back in the studio, which is actually the conference room, which Bryce didn't show you guys. Okay. Let me get settled here. Let's see. Here's a question that I can probably answer. Do you have, besides Brother Ridge's scriptures, do you have the standard work? I don't believe we do. Okay. Now we are going to move on. But first, I'm going to go shut the conference room door because I forgot to do that. So give me just a second. Okay. All right, now we're moving into collaborations, and I love this topic. I love talking about this. Collaborations are really important in today's marketing environment. Like I said before, it's not about being in competition with someone. It's about sharing your audience. They're going to have people that you don't have. Of course, there's going to be some crossover, especially if you have similar topics or similar genres, whatever. There's going to be some crossover, but there's people they have that you don't have. For example, Aspen Hadley, she is not only my friend, but she's an author here. And she does podcasts with me occasionally. And after she was on the podcast and we did some sharing on social media, then her sister discovered that she loved my books. through that collaboration. So I thought that was kind of funny because it was her sister. Unfortunately, I don't think Aspen is with us today because her power is out because we had this crazy storm in Salt Lake, and a bunch of people are without power in the north. So when you're watching later, Aspen, hi, and tell your sister hi for me. Okay. So collaborations, why are they important? As I just stated, you get a fresh new audience. And it's about building a relationship that's based on sharing versus just like business, right? It is a business relationship doing a collaboration, but you're sharing. You're not just paying somebody to do something for you. You're sharing something. And it increases your reach because of sharing that audience. Okay, so let's talk about some strategies that you can use to carry out collaborations. If you're a millennial or younger, you might call it a collab. The approach. So go ahead and share somebody's content. You don't have to ask permission to share somebody's content on social media. So that's a really good way to begin your approach if you want to share with somebody. Generally, if you do your tagging and everything properly, they'll be able to see that you shared their content. So you're starting to build that relationship there. And then when you want them to share yours, you've proven also that you're a collaborative person. You've already been sharing their content. And so they can trust that, you know, the collaboration is going to work both ways. And you're going to hold up your end of whatever the deal is that you do. Share what you want to do. So when you approach that person that you want to do a collaboration with, don't just say, hey, do you want to do a collab? And just like leave it all up to them. Come at them with some ideas of what you think they could do. That way they don't have to think about it too deeply. It's just like an opportunity. You're coming at it as an opportunity, not as work, additional work for them to do. Because like all of us, everybody's really busy, especially if you're approaching somebody who probably has a higher audience count than you do. They're probably really busy. And be a giver, not just a taker. And I think this one's pretty self-explanatory. So that's what a collaboration is all about, right? Is that you're giving your part and they're giving their part. And you're working together. And part of what I mean by this is not to approach somebody. I have a lot of authors who try to strictly market their books by asking, begging other people with a higher audience count to push their book for them, and sometimes for free. And that just doesn't always work. Maybe if you know this person and for some reason they want to do this for you without you giving anything in return. So think about that deeply. Like, what could you do in return to make it worth their time? So content is king. So if you've got the good content, it doesn't matter how many followers you have, because it helps buff out their content, right? Because it takes a lot of work and effort to come up with content. So if you have somebody come to you who has amazing content, whether they have a ton of followers or not, it helps them fill out their days that they need to fill up with content, right? Plus there's that whole sharing of the audiences. Be a giver. Oh, I just read that one. Make friends and be a part of the community. And we're going to talk about this a lot. We talked about it a little bit in the Facebook basics about the groups. The groups are all about being a part of a community. And that's a really great way to find collaborations to do and to carry them out. It's not just, try not to make it just a business transaction. You're going to have a lot better luck if you are commenting on their posts. So if you want to collab with somebody, start commenting on their posts. Start showing them in a non-awkward, confrontational way that you understand their topic and you're into it and you have something to add to the conversation. Okay, and that's what we mean when we say be a part of the community. Okay, here's some collabs that you can try. So you can do a sale on both of your books if you're both authors. And also this doesn't have to be just author and author. This could be a YouTuber that just does like videos, and an author or whatever. It's endless. The possibilities are endless. So I won't try to go over all the many different ways that can be. So you could do a sale on both books. You can do sample chapters or free ebooks. So in the romance world, we do this a lot where we swap sample chapters on newsletters, and we also swap like sales on our newsletters. Filming together, create something together. So even if you are an author, you could do something to get your name out there with somebody who doesn't do writing, right? You can film some sort of video. Do you have a specialty that you can talk about, that you can add to their conversation? You can add to their content, okay? You or they create something that goes with your book. So this could be so many different things. For example, the character in my book loves hats. It's a consistent theme throughout both of the books that she is obsessed with hats, and she buys a hat every time she's sad or happy or anything. And so a really cool collaboration that I could do if I could find somebody who makes old-fashioned hats is that they could make a hat that I could do as a giveaway or something like that. So that's just a very simple example of how this could be done. Again, they don't have to be authors, and they don't necessarily have to have a bigger following than you, because it's that sharing of your audience again, right? So if you have 100 and they have 100, and you only have 10 that cross over that you both share, then the rest is free game on both sides. That's almost, 200 on each side. Altogether, that you can intermingle and you grab some from their side and they grab some from your side. And always offer something of value. That's where this content is king. It comes in again. You guys are going to get so sick and tired of hearing us say this today, both Tyler and I. And we didn't even coordinate that. It's just true when it comes to marketing, that the content is so important. That's where all of your energy needs to go into, is that content. It's the same thing. A book is a leg of marketing, right? It's a piece of marketing. If you are somebody who is a lifestyle blogger and then you write a book, it's just a piece of their whole platform, right? And think of how much work and effort we put into books, and then to have them edited and have the cover done. And it's so important that everything in there is of value, right? Because that's what this is all about, is that exchange of valuable things, okay? So I'm going to pop over and see if there's any questions. I cannot tell from my screen if you are responding to somebody else or if it's a question. So keep that in mind. If you're asking me questions, you say Valerie or something, that would really help me out. Looks like you guys have a good conversation going on over here. Okay, any questions on being collaborative? Okay, so now what we're going to do, I will still answer your questions if you have them. But you guys are on task here. Okay, so we're doing the social media swap now, and we have about 20 minutes to do this. So what you need to do is put your social media contact information in here. Even if you are watching later, this is if you're not watching live, I would like you to do this. This would be really great for you. Follow as many people as you can, even if they're not in the same genre as you, even if they don't do the same thing as you, because you never know what opportunities you have for collaboration, right? And just in case you need this, if anybody needs this, this is how to add social media links and where to get them specifically for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then if you have YouTube, it's just the address to your channel. So I'm going to leave you guys to it in the comments. I will be back at 1:30. We are going to be doing advanced social media then, and we are going to start with advanced Instagram. This is the end of this block. So when we hit 1:30, I will close down this live video, and you will need to find the link to the next one. And that one is block 3. And that one is going to be everything is advanced. So if you're not ready for advanced, you can go back and watch our video from this morning, which was all of our social media basics. And then if you're just coming in, this video, we started off with YouTube, and that was kind of a combination of basic YouTube and a little bit of intermediate YouTube. So I'm signing off for now. I will see you guys at 1:30.